I'm about to launch a podcast for a client of mine, and I want it to look and sound really nice. I've already got all the camera gear lined up, but I had one more question. What mic do I put in front of my clients? I've narrowed it down to two. The Rode PodMic, one of the most recognized names in the podcasting world, and the Fifine K688, a Chinese brand that reviewers keep saying punches way above its price. I bought both, I tested both, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how they compare so you can make the right call for your setup. Let's get into it. Quick context before we unbox anything. I'm producing a two-person podcast. That means I need two microphones that sound consistent with each other, look good on camera, and won't require a sound engineer to mix after every episode. My two main important things when shopping for this microphone were price and brand. On the price side, I didn't want to spend another $400 on a mic. So I do have the legendary Shure SM7B that I use for my personal podcast. But I didn't want to buy another one, spend another $450 on a matching one. So I decided to look for something different. So I was looking at a sweet spot of under $100 per mic, but I wanted something with genuine good quality. On the brand side, and this is a real consideration for a higher end podcast, the Rode name carries weight. When somebody watches a video and sees that Rode on the desk, they already have a certain expectation of what the audio is going to sound like. That brand recognition matters. I honestly don't know if it matters to other people, to normal people that watch these podcasts, but to a fake videographer like myself, it actually really does matter. The Rode PodMic comes in a clean, minimal package, very on brand for Rode. No fuss, no fluff. Inside the box, you get the mic itself, the swing mount already attached, and that's essentially it. No XLR cable included, no stand, nothing. You're gonna have to source those separately. First impression out of the box, this thing is dense. It's heavy. It's an all metal body with a stainless steel mesh grill, ceramic coated finish, and it feels like a professional piece of equipment. It doesn't feel like something you expect for $89. It actually feels really nice. I'm really impressed by it. The swing mount is already built in, which makes it easy to attach directly to a boom arm or a stand. There's no adapter needed. Now the Fifine K688. The K688 comes with a bit more in the box. You get the mic, the shock mount, 5.8 to 3.8 thread adapter, and a USB-C cable. Out of the box, the mic also has a very solid feel, but definitely not the build quality of the PodMic. I'm not sure if this is metal or not, but it definitely is much lighter. There's a removable gray pop filter on the front, and on the back, you'll see the controls. A touch-sensitive mute button on top, and two knobs in the back, one for mic gain and one for headphone volume. It also has both USB-C and XLR outputs, which is actually pretty unique at this price point. Most mics in this price range are USB only. This one gives you the option to go in either direction. All right, so let's talk about specs, and I'll keep this digestible. I'm not an audio engineer, and I don't pretend to be. So both of these mics are dynamic microphones, and that's the right call for podcasting. Dynamic mics are less sensitive than condenser mics, which means they're better at rejecting background noise, things like your HVAC, traffic, keyboards. If you're not, recording in a treated studio, dynamic is definitely the way to go. Let's talk about the polar pattern. Both of these use a cardioid polar pattern, which means that they primarily pick up sound from the front and reject anything from the sides or the rear. So that's perfect for a two-person podcast where they're, sitting in front of each other or next to each other. The only noise that you'll hear comes from the front. Let's talk about frequency response. The Rode covers a much wider range. The Rode covers 20 hertz all the way up to 20 kilohertz, which is pretty much the full range of human hearing. The Fifine is much narrower, from 70 hertz up to 15,000 kilohertz. In practice for voice, the difference is pretty minor. Human speech lives between the 100 hertz and 8 kilohertz. But that extended low end on the Rode, it does contribute to that warm broadcast style tone that you're used to hearing. Let's talk about connectivity. And this is where the Fifine actually has an edge on paper. The K688 offers both USB-C and XLR outputs, while the Rode PodMic is XLR only, which means that you're going to need an audio interface or a mixer to be able to use it. I'm pairing mine with the RodeCaster Duo, which, by the way, is basically made for this mic. Rode designed them to work together, and it shows. It just works really, really well. But if you don't have that interface, that's an additional cost that you need to factor into your decision. Let's talk about build. So both of these are actually metal construction. I did look up the Fifine. They both feel premium. They both feel nice, but comparatively, when you're grabbing both of them at the same time, the Rode is definitely more sturdy. The Rode has that ceramic matte finish, and the Fifine is a little bit more. It just feels plasticky, while the Rode feels heavy. So let's talk about one of the most important parts, and that is pricing. The Fifine comes in at about $58 as of March 2026, and the PodMic has actually come down in price a little bit, and it's now $89. For a set of two, we're talking about a $60 difference, which is not a huge difference in my opinion. For 6 months, Claire watched a man across the street follow the same routine. For 6 months, Claire watched a man across the street follow the same routine. Coffee at 7, newspaper at 7:15, gone by 8. Coffee at 7, newspaper at 7:15, gone by 8. She never thought much of it until the night the power went out. She lit a candle and moved to the window. His lights were on. She could see his silhouette in the living room, sitting in his chair like always. She lit a candle and moved to the window. His lights were on. She could see his silhouette in the living room, sitting in his chair like always. Then the phone rang. Blocked number. You should really get those locks changed, the voice said. The one on your back door only takes about 4 seconds. Then her phone rang. Blocked number. You should really get those locks changed, the voice said. The one on your back door only takes about 4 seconds. She spun around towards the kitchen. The back door was wide open, cold air spilling into the hallway. She spun around towards the kitchen. The back door was wide open, cold air spilling into the hallway. She ran to the front door, threw it open, sprinting across the street, pounding on her neighbor's door. She ran for the front door and threw it open, spinning across the street, pounding on her neighbor's door. He answered in his robe, half asleep, coffee still brewing behind him. Claire, what's wrong? He answered in his robe, half asleep, coffee still brewing behind him. She turned back toward her house. Every light was now on, every single one. Claire, what's wrong? She turned back towards her house. Every light was now on, every single one. And someone was standing in her bedroom, watching. And someone was standing in her bedroom window, watching. Dana picked up the rideshare request at 11:48 p.m. A woman, 2 miles away. Dana picked up the rideshare request at 11:48 p.m. A woman, 2 miles away. She seemed normal enough when she got in, quiet, staring at her phone. Halfway through the drive, Dana glanced in the rearview mirror. She seemed normal enough when she got in, quiet, staring at her phone. Halfway through the drive, Dana glanced in the rearview mirror. The woman was staring at her, not at her phone, at her, had been the whole time. The woman was staring at her, not at her phone, at her, and she had been the whole time. Everything okay back there? Dana asked. Do you feel like someone is following you? The woman said. Dana laughed it off. Can't say that I do. Everything okay back there? Dana asked. Do you ever feel like someone's following you? The woman said. Dana laughed it off. Can't say that I do. Well, you should look again. Dana checked the mirror. Same black SUV that had been behind her since she pulled out of the parking lot. No headlights. You should look again. Dana checked the mirror. Same black SUV that had been behind her since she pulled out of the parking lot. No headlights. She took a sharp left. It followed. A right. It followed. Her passenger leaned forward slowly. I've been trying to warn you for 3 blocks, she whispered. She took a sharp left. It followed. A right. It followed. Her passenger leaned forward slowly. I've been trying to warn you for 3 blocks, she whispered. Don't stop driving, no matter what. Dana's hands tightened on the wheel. Who are you? The woman didn't answer. She was looking out the back window now. Don't stop driving, no matter what. Dana's hands tightened on the wheel. Who are you? The woman didn't answer. She was looking out the back window now. Something shifting in her face. Fear, maybe, or something worse. They found us, she said quietly. The SUV turned its headlights on. Something shifting in her face. Fear, maybe, or something worse. They found us, she said. The SUV turned its lights on. So let's talk about what I found in testing and the way these mics sound, at least to my ears. The Rode has that classic broadcast warmth. It's rounder and fuller sound. It's that deep radio quality that you've heard on NPR and Joe Rogan's show, for example. There's a presence boost in that mid-range that makes voices sound confident and clear. It does have a little bit more on that bottom end, right? So it sounds a little bit more bassy, which sounds nice. The Fifine, on the other hand, is a little bit brighter, so it does have a little bit more on that high to mid end of the spectrum, which can actually work pretty well, with certain voices. If your voice naturally tends to be on the deeper end, on the bassy side, the Fifine can actually help it by making it a little bit more balanced. If your voice is already brighter or a little higher, the warmth of the Rode can definitely help by flattening that curve. The internal pop filter on the Rode is excellent. The Fifine's removable pop filter does the job, but I noticed slightly more plosives on the Fifine than I did on the Rode. The room noise rejection was solid on both. Dynamic mics in general are pretty good at that, and they work pretty well in less than perfect rooms. So let's talk about how these mics compare to their competition. To put these in context, the industry gold standard of mics is the Shure SM7B. I have one of these and I use it myself. It's the mic you see on every major podcast, but they're expensive. It runs about $400. It does require a high gain preamp, and that's really not what we're shopping for today. The most direct competitor for the Rode PodMic is the Shure MV7, which runs about $250. It's USB and XLR. The PodMic, like we talked about, is only $89 and gets you most of the way there for less than half the price. That's why they've become so popular. This is probably one of the most popular mics out there right now. For the Fifine, the competitors are something like the Audio-Technica ATR 2100X and the K28. Both are solid USB XLR mics, just like the Fifine, and they're in that $80 to $100 range. The Fifine holds up well against both and actually has a slight edge in build quality. So in the grand scheme of thing, the Rode punches above its weight against $200 plus mics, and the Fifine punches way above its weight in anything pretty much in its price range. Let's talk about pros and cons to both of them. We'll start with the PodMic. Pros, it's the industry standard. It's an industry recognized brand name. It's warm. It has that broadcast quality tone, built-in pop filter, and internal shock mount. It's rock solid metal build. This thing is heavy, and it's backed by a 10-year warranty by Rode. You know, Rode is going to be around, pretty much forever. The cons, it's only XLR, so you will need some sort of interface to use it. I think most people that buy this are going to put it into an interface, whether it be the RodeCaster Duo, a RodeCaster Video, one of the Zoom recorders. There's a lot, and also nothing comes in the box, right? It's only just pretty much this. This is all pretty much you get in that big box that comes in. It's $89, I guess, is a con, but it's pretty cheap for a really good microphone. Let's talk about the pros of the Fifine. So pros right off the bat, it's USB and XLR, so you can connect this directly into your computer. You can connect it directly into your phone, and you can start using it without any sort of interface, which is a huge bonus because if you're doing something on a real budget, you don't need to add anything else to it. For example, with the RodeCaster Duo is going to be another $400 to $500. So you got to add that to it. It has built-in mute buttons and the knobs on the back, which are really convenient if you're using it for USB. It comes with a nice shock mount with some rubber bands in there to help it avoid any unwanted sounds. It's got pretty good build quality. I don't think it's the best build quality. It's definitely not up to the Rode, but it's pretty good build quality nonetheless. Let's talk about the cons. It's a less established brand name, right? So if you are worried about longevity, I don't know how long Fifine is going to be around. It could be around forever. It could be the new Rode going forward, or it could be gone in 6 months. So if you worry about that, that's one thing. It does have that brighter sound profile. So if you already have a higher voice, it may not work really well for you. Let's talk about who each mic is for. The Rode PodMic is for you if you want a professional, recognizable setup that signals quality right as soon as somebody opens up the video or, as soon as they open up the audio. If your podcast is positioned as a premium product and brand perception matters to you, this is definitely the one to go with. Sponsors, guests, I think people notice that. I'm not 100% sure, and please let me know in the comments if you agree with me or not. But I think people notice these things, or maybe they don't notice, but subconsciously they do. It's also the right call if you already have one of the building blocks around you for this. And what I'm talking about is something like a RodeCaster Duo or RodeCaster Pro or any of those. So these things are designed to work exactly with each other. So, you're going to get the best quality right off the bat. There's even a preset on the RodeCaster Duo for this pod mic. So you literally just plug it in, hit the preset, and you're good to go, ready to go. And honestly, there's something to be said about the look. This looks really cool. I think, obviously looks is subjective, but I think anyone that looks at this is really nice. The only thing I don't like and I hate, I wish they would be able to fix it, is when the XLR sticks out a little bit. I'm going to look to see if we can get some 90-degree angle ones so that it doesn't, it's not so bulky on the back. But this looks really nice. It looks fancy. It looks expensive, which is nice sometimes. The Fifine K688 is for you if you want something that's a little bit simpler, right? You plug in the USB directly to your computer or to your phone and you get started and you're done. This is a legitimately great sounding microphone for somebody who's just starting out or that doesn't want to mess around with EQs and whatever.